What is up, my dear friends, and welcome back to the Happy Heart Academy podcast. I am your host, Tyler Joe Stratton, and today we are going to be talking about what to do when you feel alone. But before we get started into that concept, we are going to be talking about, hey, listen, if you are struggling to move on, get unstuck, and reclaim your life and happiness after your separation, divorce, or heartbreak, be sure to check out the free training in the link in the show notes, whether you're watching this on YouTube or listening to this on the podcasting app, because there you're going to learn the 3 pillars that you need to focus on throughout your heartbreak season so that you can fully move through it and complete your healing cycle. These are the 3 pillars that I would recommend everybody to check out and to focus in on as you dive into your heartbreak alone or with somebody. Like, you need to understand what should you be focusing on and what you should not be focusing on in order to move on. You're going to learn what oftentimes stop us and keep us stuck in our heartbreak pain so that we'll never be able to move on. You're also going to learn what's going to get you unstuck so that you can finally move on and create a sense of freedom and reclaim your life and happiness. And if that's a free training that you want, remember, it's only 30 minutes. If that, I think it's under 30 minutes. I think it's like 25 minutes. Be sure to check it out because it's going to be so insightful for you that it's going to help you move through this heartbreak quickly, because you're going to have a sense of direction. Right now, you might feel directionless, like you don't know what to do. You don't know what to focus on. You don't know who to focus on. You don't know whether or not you should stop focusing on them, and because you're thinking about they might come back. What do you actually do during this mess of a time? Well, that's kind of what the training teaches you. So be sure to check it out. It's in the show notes below. And once again, it's just free training. It's a happiness after heartbreak, how to move on and reclaim your life and happiness. And so that training is absolutely free and it's for you. So be sure to check it out as we continue throughout this week. Now, my friends, I do have a request. I don't ask a lot of you, but I do ask of this one thing. I need your help. And I genuinely need your help. I would love to continue to produce this podcast, but in order to do so, I need your help by leaving a review on the Apple Podcast app or Spotify or wherever you listen to the podcast. I need your review. I need your feedback so we can continue to uplift this podcast in the rankings and get more people to listen to the podcast. This podcast is super important for the movement of the Happy Heart Academy, where we are trying to break the hurt people cycle so that we can focus on the healed people heal people. You see, the goal of the Happy Heart Academy is to help people live more joyfully from their heart rather than their hurt, so that the people that can make better decisions based upon their hurt their heart rather than their hurt and their fear. It's to live from your heart space rather than your head space. It's an academy that's teaching people how to remove themselves from their hurt so that they don't end up going to hurt someone else. Listen, if you want to be a part of the heal people process and join the Happy Heart Academy, be sure to check out and leave a review on the Apple Podcast app or Spotify, wherever you listen to this, so that it continues to grow, expand its reach, and to improve other people's life. Be the light today, share the hope today, leave a review today. Now on to today's episode. My dear friends, welcome to the Happy Heart Academy podcast. I am so grateful that you're here today with me as we talk about something that oftentimes is a struggle for many people, including myself at one point in time. You know, it's this idea of when you're lonely. When you feel lonely, what do you do? What can I do, Tyler, that will help me to stop feeling so alone? I remember when I first went through my heartbreak, I found myself feeling so separated from her, and also separated from myself, separated from God. I felt like I lacked purpose, significance, and identity. I felt like I drowned in thoughts of misery, and I kept reminiscing about the times and how things used to be and should be. And this oftentimes left me feeling more alone, more broken, because I'm like, oh, well, I used to have, family. I used to have a relationship. I used to have love. I used to have significance. I used to have purpose. I used to have all these people in my life. And now it's all taken away because I lost one person. I know you know what I'm talking about. It sucks when you're there. I remember the emotion. I remember sitting in my bedroom, weeping at times, trying to cope in negative ways that wasn't going to help me actually heal. binge watching TV shows, spending hours on video games, drinking, smoking, you name it, tried it, do it, run away from it. And the more I did the unhealthy things, the more alone that I actually felt. The more that I indulged in unhealthy behaviors, the more separated I felt from myself, from others, from God, and everything in between. And I knew that I couldn't continue this if I actually wanted to heal and create a sense of happiness and significance in my life. So there's a crossroad that you're probably at right now. You can continue to pursue the path of loneliness, the path of separateness, the path of helplessness and hopelessness, or you could finally take these moments of silence and aloneness to reinvent, to recreate, to reestablish an identity, beliefs, values, boundaries, a greater version of yourself. And that's what I chose after a while of suffering. I had to suffer a lot before. Actually, I ended up having to hit rock bottom and hit what I like to call the emotional threshold, which is a place where you can't continue on the way that you've been feeling and or experiencing life, so that you now are someone who's like, listen, can't continue to do this ultimately. So this is something that you can do now. Anywho, aside from that, my dear friends, it's time to implement these 4 different ideas, these big ideas that's going to help you not to feel so alone in these times of loneliness, or these times of separateness, or this time of divorce, or this time of, heartbreak. Because at the end of the day, I do want to help you move through this. I want to help you to succeed through this. I want to help you heal through this. And here's some ways in which you can finally connect back to others, to yourself, and to finally feel like you are connected, that you are supported, that people understand you, that you are not in a dark place. This is the time where we're going to challenge yourself to serve more, to share more, to connect more, to be more satisfied, and to cheer yourself on even in the dark times. We're going to push you through these dark times. So listen, be sure to get a pen and paper out, because listen, this is going to be some good stuff. This is going to help you to move on. Now, listen, most of the things that I tell you are good, helpful pieces of information, but information without backed up action is absolutely nothing. Nothing changes, my friend, is if nothing changes. Therefore, if you don't implement what I'm about to share with you, nothing's going to change in your life. You might know what to do, which at the end of the day, I believe every single one of us knows what to do. It's, are we willing to do it? I think we know how to heal. We just have to ask ourselves, do we want to heal? And even when we want to heal, what's stopping us from healing? There's things that oftentimes there's roadblocks that stop us from healing. And as your coach, I oftentimes help people navigate those hurdles, those obstacles, those moments of being stuck in a ditch. So today we are talking about what to do when you feel alone. My friend, this I don't take lightly. This is definitely a conversation that is very challenging to talk about, because loneliness comes at different depths. But I'm going to imagine and assume that the sense of loneliness that you currently feel is a loneliness that comes from your separateness from your significant other. And coming from that place, here's what I would recommend you do to feel more connected, joyful, and supported in these times of your heartbreak. The first thing is to get interested in other people. Now, this doesn't mean that you should go on dates and that you should pursue someone's, romantically, but it's just a matter of when you engage in someone, whether it's a coworker, whether it's a boss, whether it's a churchgoer, whether it's a neighbor, whatever it may be, ask people powerful questions that engage in their life, meaning don't ask dull questions. Stop being a subsurface level type of individual who only connects at this surface level. We want to go a couple layers deeper to really interact with someone, to be interested in someone. I've heard this quote. It goes something like, the most interesting people are the people that are most interested in people. You'll find me interesting if you find me interested in you. And so oftentimes, my friends, we're only one question away from deeply connecting to someone at a greater level that's going to amplify your feeling of love, of connectedness, of support, of happiness. So challenge yourself to reach out and bring your best self to social interactions by asking yourself and asking them questions that go a couple layers deeper than, hey, how are you doing? What's new? How are the kids? How's school? How's work? These are just surface level. Like, you could ask me that, but you still don't know me. You could ask me those questions and you still don't understand me. So get interested in other people. Ask them empowering questions, because empowering questions equal to empowered life. Dull questions will equal a dull life. So if you wanted more connection and more vibrancy, aliveness, and joy in your life and relationships, then, my friend, you've got to ask some better questions. You've got to challenge yourself to go a couple layers deeper than the simple automatic questions that everybody asks, and get interested, because that will spark your aliveness, your vitality, and your happiness. Now, number two, the second thing that I would recommend you do is do the +1 to your interactions. This +1 interaction to your interactions is pretty fun. Ultimately, the idea behind it is just to bring one more person with you for lunch, to the movies, or to your group, so, wherever you are at with certain friends. Like, for example, just ask your friend to bring another friend. That's the simplest way that you could do it without it being awkward, right? So it's like, ask one of your friends, hey, do you want to come over tonight to watch a movie, or to finish out the Game of Thrones series, or the House of Dragons series, or the Yellowstone series, or whatever you're watching. You want to come over and just hang out, maybe do some popcorn, some snacks, and actually you want to bring someone, ask someone else to come to just kind of lighten up the place. And it's just to ask another person to engage in your social sphere is, excuse me, is really what it's about. And we've done this multiple times, Nicole and myself, and it's been so much fun to bring new relationships from friends into your life. For example, one of the things that we've got into lately for about, I don't know, since probably March of last year or something like that. We joined a Bible study group, and there's 10 of us, 5 couples. They're all married, and they're all our age. And it's been a beautiful connection, and it's been growing because we're adding +1s to the group. So it's been fun to get to know new people. It's been fun to practice ways in which we can ask better questions to get to know each other. One of the things that we just did this past weekend was we all went out to, we all got a Airbnb, all 10 of us, and we split the Airbnb to enjoy time together, to get to develop deeper relationships. That was the purpose of this weekend, was to develop deeper relationships with our friends that are in our Bible study. We've cut out time, we set the intention, so that we could begin to deepen our relationships with them. There's so many different ways that you can deepen a relationship with somebody, but ideally we just went out and we made it the intention. We set the intention to be like, hey, this is a time to get to know one another, to ask each other, well, what's your background? Where'd you come from? What was your family life like? Like, what were your hopes, dreams, desires? What did you struggle with growing up? What did you excel with when you were growing up? Like, just to kind of get to know people on a deeper level. And as we continue to share stories, they continue to evolve into deeper and more passionate stories. And some of them were just so enlightening, and we can see where they come from. And some of them you feel bad for, and some of them you're like, wow, I'm grateful that you're here today. And it's just a beautiful thing. And I want you to experience that. But you can't experience that if you never invite someone to come join your social sphere. So bring the +1 interaction to help you aliven your connectiveness, and to kind of dissipate your loneliness. Now, number 3 is a big one, and it's something that I'm truly passionate about, and it's be more explicit about what you want, what you desire, what you dream of, and need. Be more explicit. This means, oftentimes we feel lonely because we don't think people understand. And more than likely, they probably don't understand, because we haven't been authentically and consistently expressing ourselves and our real thoughts and dreams to them. We live a shallowed life. Sometimes it's even called the cage life, where we lose hope of our future. We don't see a bigger picture, a bigger purpose. We wake up, we drink some coffee, we go to work, We work around people that don't really know us, but we've been working with them for years. And we never feel connected. We never feel joyful. There's moments of happiness, but they're gone in a blink of an eye. And it's often is because many people, once again, number one, they're not being interesting. They're not asking interesting questions. You're not asking interesting questions to open up a conversation. You're not inviting people into your life, and you're not expressing your truth, your dreams, your needs, your desires with someone. So I challenge you this week to express your needs, your dreams, your desires, your wants, your passions with people. Express yourself. Don't hope people will understand you. Help them understand. You're not going to them to gain their conviction that you can do this, that you will do this, that you're so beautiful, smart, powerful, creative, fun, whatever. Don't you be that for you. You don't need them to reclaim or state that that's what you need. You just need to let them know, hey, my name's Tyler. I know that we've been working together for 3 years now, but I never really opened up and expressed my dream. And I kind of want to share that with you. Now, I don't ideally think that that's going to be how your conversation goes, but nonetheless, give it a try, my friend. It's going to help you progress forward and move forward, because it's like, listen, my dream is to be, a speaker, a coach. It's to be someone who is employed by himself, for his family, to thrive and strive to change the hearts of individuals so that they can begin to live more joyfully from their heart rather than their hurt, so they can feel aliveness, joy, connection, and love in their life and relationships again. It's to build better relationships and restore something that they felt like they lost, including themselves and the relationship with their significant other. My mission here is a powerful mission, because it's here to help break the hurt people cycle. I know this sounds crazy. I know this sounds almost dang near impossible, but I'm on a mission, and I every day that God gives me another breath is another day that I get to focus, even if it's 20 minutes onto this. I'm going to focus on it, because I understand that compensation is a powerful thing, and things compound rather rapidly as you continue to build the momentum. So share your dreams, your needs, your wants and desires with people, and allow them into your world, because I don't feel like you will regret it in your times of loneliness. And lastly, number 4, you need to be honest with yourself and others. Why do you feel so dissatisfied? Well, if you don't know the answer to that, get some help. Get a counselor, get a coach, have a real conversation with people about your feelings and your needs. Because at the end of the day, the world doesn't see a lonely person and say, hey, let's hang out. You look alone. You look lonely. It takes the lonely person to have the courage to say, here I am, and I'm ready to engage. It's going to take you to step up into the plate and be like, I'm ready to re-engage. I'm ready to move on and move forward and reconnect and re-engage in relationships, because I ultimately believe, if you haven't bought my book yet, called The Big Three, which is over there in the background, right there, there's some copies of it. The Big Three is about how to build joyful and loving relationships with yourself, others, and God after a breakup. It's like, how do I reclaim myself? How do I rebuild and reconnect with others? And how do I reestablish a relationship with a God that I never see, feel, hear? It's how do you reconnect? And I'm not coming from, a religious standpoint, but I'm just coming from like, hey, how can we connect back to God so that we're connected to something greater than ourselves? Because if I was the only person that there was nothing greater than me, I don't know, this world would be rather hopeless, to be honest with you, because I wouldn't want to continue to think that I'm the greatest thing of all, and the thing that it's just a dark place for me to be there. But nonetheless, here's what I'm here to say is challenge yourself, my friend. Get out there, push yourself, be engaging, be interesting, be interested. You'll find excitement, you'll find happiness, you'll find connectiveness in the times of loneliness if you continue to follow these 4 things. Just to recap, number 1 is get interested in others. Number 2, bring a +1 to your interactions. Number 3, be more explicit about what your wants, needs, dreams, and values are. And number 4, be honest with yourself and others. Listen, if you need help moving on and creating a sense of happiness after heartbreak, you can do one of 2 things. You can continue to guess your way through this heartbreak pain and think that it's going to just wither away. You see, oftentimes what I find is that you are probably pretty good at suppressing and ignoring your emotions to the point where you feel like they're finally gone. What is not in sight, in mind, will be replaced and gone forever. Well, just because you suppressed it, just because you've escaped it, just because you've expressed it in some way, shape, or form, you feel like you're healed. You're fine. Hey, listen, I read a book. I listened to the podcast. Tyler, I'm healed, baby. I'm ready to get back into it. You are not healed until you step back in a relationship and realize how unhealed you truly are. If you continue to guess your way through this heartbreak, you're going to find yourself guessing yourself back into a half-assed relationship that's going to make you feel like, once again, that love is not worth it. So don't continue to guess your way through this heartbreak pain, because at the end of the day, time in and of itself cannot heal you. It's what you do in that time that can. You can't guess your way through this breakup, and you can't distract your way through this breakup. Watching another Netflix series, listening to another podcast, reading another book, you can't even talk your way through this breakup. That's what causes PTSD at times. People revisit a time and space, and it causes them to feel a certain way that oftentimes causes them to trigger and react in negative manners. So if you continue to say like, I got to keep expressing it, that's one form of releasing. But if you don't understand the other releasing mechanisms that can actually help you cope without revisiting that time and space, then my friend, you might want to book a call with me, as we will continue to dive into your situation and help you understand how to continue to move on and step forward so that you can reclaim your life and happiness. So be sure to check out the link in the show notes, whether you want to work with me one-on-one, or you just wanted that free training. Either or, the link will be in the show notes. But my dear friend, my name is Tyler Stratton. I am your heartbreak recovery coach, coming to you today and hoping that this podcast has served you and helped you and supported you in some way, shape, or form. And if it did, don't forget to leave a review on Apple Podcasts or on wherever you listen to the podcast to help out this mission.